Rights to freedom is dead. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, brothers and sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I am your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, please make sure that you guys are subscribed and hit that notification bell. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers. All we need is a little bit more, and I appreciate all of your help, sincerely. Now, we're going to be discussing a situation that happened all the way back in 2021. This is an update to it. It just recently happened a couple days ago. So there was a young sister named Nikita Brown. This was back in 2021. Of course, you know, we had pandemic restrictions. She was walking her dog on the beach. An officer came up and the officer was like, hey, you got to move. She was moving. The officer just got triggered because she was black. So the officer started shooing her and rushing her off the beach. And they got into an altercation where the officer just reached out and started grabbing her and spinning her around and all that. And it was charges that were put onto him. It took a long time, but the charges were eventually put onto him. And now recently, the charges have all been dropped. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Cheryl, we have just learned that criminal charges have now been dropped against former Chicago police officer Bruce Diker. He was criminally charged and accused of battering a woman as she walked her dog out here along North Avenue Beach 2 summers ago. Video of that confrontation quickly went viral, and at the time, that woman, Nikita Brown, told Good Morning America she believed she was going to die. It was August 2021, still in the throes of the pandemic, and police body camera video picks up as then Chicago police officer Bruce Diker approaches Nikita Brown at North Avenue Beach. It was after 11 p.m.
Now understand this.
Please respect my space. It's COVID. 6 feet. You do not have a mask on.
I don't need a mask. I'm out.
Now, to put everything in its full context, because this video doesn't really put it in its full context. The beach, yeah, okay, it was closed, whatever. She wasn't supposed to be there, whatever. There are other people who were there. We're going to get into that later. But the officer chose her specifically to force her to get off the beach. It's not the fact that he told her she had to leave. It's his tone and how he went about it, how he went to tell her she had to leave. It was this very hyper-aggressive command to get off the beach, or else there's going to be consequences. And when she was moving off the beach kind of slowly, then he pulled over, he stopped the car and got out the car, which caused her to start recording. So what you're seeing, this video right here, this is from the point of view of her cell phone footage recording, because she's all like, okay, this guy's acting kind of crazy.
In an exclusive interview with Good Morning America, that woman, Nikita Brown, said she was walking her dog on a closed North Avenue beach when she encountered a white Chicago police officer who ordered her to leave. Brown's attorney said other people were on the beach, but she believed she was targeted because of her race.
Now, I'm glad that the video picks up from a different angle, because you can't really see it that well through her cell phone. But from this other angle, you see how he is closely following her. He told her to leave and she was leaving. This man is like running up behind her as if she broke into some type of bank or something like that. He did not have to do all that. He told her to leave and she was leaving, and he was running up behind her. Now, if you know anything about that beach, particularly if you're from Chicago or wherever, close by it, or you visit it often, you can understand that people go to that beach after hours all the time, even during the pandemic. That was something that happened normally. It wasn't just black people, white people were doing it too, but he specifically chose black people. You don't see police acting like this when it comes to white people. You wouldn't see this. This man went out of his way to first tell her to leave. Okay, if you want to say that's fine because that was what the rules were, all right. When she was leaving, he didn't have a reason to go running up behind her as if she broke into his house or something.
I know that as soon as he got out the car, I'm thinking to myself, how can I kind of deter the situation? How can I de-escalate the situation?
And this is what we talk about when we talk about police brutality, police targeting black people, and how the police should be accountable for their actions, because it doesn't always lead in somebody dying. But the thing is that that doesn't make the police right. The police do stuff like this that target black people all of the time, and that really doesn't go viral or get reported. I'm glad that this situation did, but normally situations like this don't go viral because the person doesn't die or doesn't get like super hurt as a result of this. But in situations like this, and this happens all of the time, angry, trigger happy, triggered police officer approaches a black person, and the black person is the one who has to de-escalate the situation with the police. In this situation, it was not nearly that deep. She was on the beach. It was after hours. She wasn't supposed to be on the beach. He could have said, hey, leave or you're going to get a ticket or whatever the case is, but you have to get off the beach. And she was complying. If you see the other videos, she started to leave off the beach. It was him feeling some type of power ego thing where he wanted her to like pick the dog up and run for the sake of her life off the beach.
A passerby taped the confrontation, which turned physical.
Now, that was unnecessary. That was completely unnecessary. He didn't have to reach out and put his hands on her. Mind you, this was during the pandemic too. But I have another angle to show you from his body cam.
Keep walking straight to the exit.
I feel threatened.
Good.
Back up.
I'm about to put handcuffs on you if you don't keep walking. Do you want to test me on this?
Back up. Let go of me!
Now, in this video, you can get a glimpse of his attitude and his whole demeanor, which is what he had the entire time. She said she felt threatened. Good, you should be. Why should she feel threatened? You're just telling her she has to leave, and she's complying. She says she feels threatened because you're following her, you're yelling at her. There's no reason for you to be doing all of that. This man is absolutely doing the damn most. And then when she pauses for a couple seconds, he reaches out and starts grabbing her and trying to put her in handcuffs or whatever he was trying to do. That was not necessary. And he wouldn't have. You don't see stuff like this happening with black officers and white girls. So this is a racial incident.
I'm clearly walking away. This man is getting out of his car. He's saying that he's going to take me to jail and I'm never going to see my dog again. Like, this is ridiculous.
Officer Bruce Diker was placed on administrative leave and resigned from the department in May of 2022 before any formal police disciplinary measures could be handed down. That June, nearly 10 months after the confrontation, the Cook County State's attorney brought criminal charges against Diker for aggravated battery and official misconduct.
Now, mind you, this happened in August 2021. He stayed in the department without any disciplinary action. And he only left in May 2022 when right before disciplinary action was going to be introduced to him because Miss Brown was suing him. That's the reason. So he was able to stay in there and then he was able to resign because depending on the legal situation, whether he wins or doesn't win, it's not going to show on his record that he was fired because he assaulted somebody. So he was able to save his record by resigning right before any disciplinary action was put onto him. And this is something police officers do all of the time. So after he resigned, he was able to pretty much stay under the radar until now, which is in recording of this date is August 2023. And then recently they dropped all of the charges. So he doesn't have anything on his record at all. So when he goes back to the force and starts messing with people again, and is not going to show anything on his record because he was able to do this little loophole that police officers do all of the time. And keep in mind, this officer has been in law enforcement since 1998. So he was on the force for 24 years before resigning in 2022. So you can imagine how many times he's gotten away with doing stuff like this.
Now, more than a year later, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office says after consulting with the victim, they've decided to drop those criminal charges. As part of their investigation, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability had previously concluded that Officer Diker did not engage in racial profiling, but also that his use of force in this incident did not comply with department policy. We have reached out to Nikita Brown's attorney for any response on this situation, but so far we've not heard back. The Cook County State's Attorney's Office says there is a civil case still pending.
Now, let's be honest. They say it has nothing to do with race at all. But the thing is that where do you see situations like this happening with white girls? If it was not about race, you would see this happening more with white people than it would be with black people, right? Why do you see this disproportionate amount of targeting and profiling happening to black people, but it has nothing to do with race ever? It never ever has anything to do with race. You can't prove that it was about race. So unless the officer literally calls her the N-word and starts spewing racial epithets, you have no idea that race was a factor in this at all. Race had nothing to do with this whatsoever. Now, if she was trans and the same situation with the same incident, dog, everything, if that happened and he just put his hands on a trans person, they would be saying, oh, this is transphobia. This had to do with transphobia. You can't ignore the blatant transphobia in the system. That's what they would be saying. But when they're black, it's all like, can you prove? How do you know what his heart was feeling? How do you know how he felt when he did it? He might not even saw your race. And you know their excuse, I don't even see race. All I see is the person. All I see is the content of the person's character. They say that all the time. If this was not about race, if situations like this, not just this one, but if situations like this were not about race, you would see it happening with every single race of people, with every single race of cop. But you don't see it happening with every single race of people and every single race of cop. You see this happening with white cops and black people. You don't see black cops sitting up there telling white people, oh, get off the beach, run, you should feel threatened by. You don't see black cops saying that. You should feel threatened by me. And then when she stops to do something on her phone, the black cop grabs the white girl and then starts spinning her around. And then he gets to stay in the department from August to May with no threatening of being fired, of being persecuted or anything, and then gets to leave before any sort of disciplinary action is brought on to him, and then all of the charges get dropped. You wouldn't see this happening if the races were reversed. So this is a racial incident. Brothers and sisters, I want to know, what do you guys think about this situation? What do you think about the cop? What do you think that the sister should do in this situation? Has anything like this happened to you before? Let me know that in the comments section below. Also, you should be following me on my various social media platforms, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and the Afro Elite on Twitter. Also, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button so we can get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That's the goal. We're so close to it. So please be a part of that and hit that subscribe button. Also, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content, and leave a like and share this because that helps the reach and the growth of the channel. And for everything you all do, thank you so very much. Now, with that being said, be one salute to every single last one of you brothers and sisters, and you all have a good one.